Hey yo, it's Guido coming at you with a Tactics Talk. Thanks for tuning in on this episode. I have Silver from my clan, Cart, or an affiliate anyway. He's platooned with Straka, also of Cart. Straka in his 705, we got Silver in his Object 263 Tier 9 Russian TD. And this is a TD that just moved from Tier 10 down to Tier 9. Kind of a rear-mounted gun on it. Casemate type TD, so let's see what happens here. We end up with a pretty good last stand out of Silver, and his 263 is going to miss the shot. A little bit of an issue with gunnery there on the T50/51. Silver has stopped kind of in the middle right here. That would not really be my recommendation. I realize there's some guys to shoot at in the middle, but you're really asking to get spotted by one of those guys if they push just a little bit forward. And then you get the rain from the artillery. And while there's only one out there, it is the Bat Chat version with multiple shots going on. I probably would have just moved on into town, and maybe between you and Straka, you might have even punished that E5 a little harder. He has been very aggressive, moved up into your area, and he's not going to last very long doing that. Especially if he doesn't have any support from his buddies coming in from the north there. So we'll move into the town, which is a good idea. Not really easy to match up using a 263 and an Object 705, although here in the city with kind of these lanes down the long or long-ish roads, it's not a bad option. If it was a more fluid battle, it would be a little more difficult, but it's really static down here in the town, so they can end up working with each other, although you're kind of split up at this point. The IS-3 comes around the corner, starts getting shot, obviously lit, then we see that we've got a Type 4 coming. We blast him, and we're backing, and holy cow, we just got pinned by an AP round from a Type 4. Crazy. And stunned. So we're going to move back. Probably a wise idea. More than likely, if I was that Type 4, I'd have switched over to HE for my next shot onto you. So good idea just to get out of there. Plus, artillery was looking at you. There was a couple other tanks over there. It's not really great options. We're going to move back to where we can use these bushes and knock down as many of these trees as possible. Got a 252U. There's a T95. He's going to be problematic. In the past at Tier 10, the 263 could kind of handle these things. I haven't looked at the numbers on whether the pen and whatnot has decreased. My assumption is it has, but I don't know if they changed the gun. What I do know is it's still a pretty good gun. Man, I'd have shifted over to the left, and you really were just kind of staring at that Conway's front quarter right there for a while. This is a much better position that you just put yourself into. Take a chunk out of the Type 4. Conway does his thing. You come in. Looking for that little weak spot. There's two, I think they're view slits or maybe machine gun ports on the front that are slightly less strong than the rest of the front hull. Really got a problem going on over on your west side. Those guys have broken through. There's a Sturb and another TD that are about to get run over. You're still controlling the middle-ish, but you're about to have problems with that because they're going to own about 3/4 of the map here real soon, and pretty much they do at this point. Vision control-wise, you're in big trouble. There's not a whole lot you could do. You could flex back and attempt to help them over there, but for the moment, staying with your strength in the town and attempting to clean up these guys, because they do have quite a bit over there. They got the Type, the VK, and the T95 are all still hanging out back there. The T100's gone across to try to help. They are doing some work. They cleaned up the push a little bit, and it looks like you're just a little bit ahead right now. And holy cow, now we've got the T95. Looks like you're going for the lower plate. I have mixed feelings on that, man. I think I might have just gone for the hatch on the top. We're going to see some issues with hitting the hatch here in just a minute when the 4502 shows up. And there are issues with it because, they're small targets. They are highly curved. Looks like maybe you're going for it right there. So if you just miss slightly to the right or left, you can end up with auto bounce issues and things like that. Depending on the strength of the armor, you could have overmatch, blah, 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 blah. But they're just difficult targets to hit unless you're really up on top of people. And this is a pretty close range, and here we'll kind of see what I'm talking about. Looks like you're going right into the front of the turret. With gold, that should be a viable option actually on this 4502. It does have a decently sized mantlet, so if you do hit the mantlet, you can have problems with it. Looks like you're going up again. You can have problems with the mantlet. And see, now we're going after this hatch, and I think you're aiming maybe just... Well, this is actually a pretty good aim point right there. You can see it alternately goes from green to orange as you shift from left to right. And I don't know where that was. I'm maybe slightly low. I don't think it was up where it needed to be. It looks like you're aiming maybe low. You might be getting into the mantlet there as well. And that's one of those issues you will often find with shooting through shrubbery like this, where you're just looking at an outline. You often have a hard time kind of seeing exactly what you're aiming at. We've gone to HE. I think that's not a bad option right here. I really think if you'd have gone right or left of the mantlet and tried to go straight through his face, the face of his turret, there's a little side turret that ends up helping you out right there, although you don't pin, you do some damage. You might have been able to put some through the face of his turret there with gold, but we're working on with HE, and your team is now really just, things have just collapsed here. Straka's dead. Taking a couple pieces off this guy. Here comes the T-54, and at this point I was watching your replay, and I didn't really look at what the result was. I just downloaded to start looking at it. I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be a loss. What Silver asked me was, hey, help me out with my shots on this 4502. Things weren't working out like I wanted to with the hatch, which we just discussed, and I was thinking, well, this is, I guess, the end of the game at this point, but a little unlucky there. He backed up just in time. And we are down to 321 hit points. It's 3v6. Conway's way over there now, or way behind you, sorry. You've got a tier 10 artillery still involved. There goes the Sturb, that's helpful. And we got this guy sitting there. Down he goes, dies to AP, or to APCR. Thank goodness the arty's not raining on you. There's another guy. It's that 4502. He's really been a problem for you. Can't quite get a shot on him. He backs off. Down goes the Conway. And now we're just trying to keep as much space between us and them as possible, because the big weakness now with the casemate TD like this is getting flanked, and especially with multiple enemy tanks, it's quite easy to get flanked. There goes the Type 4. Go around here, see if we can't find him. The GW's kind of got him lit for you. You come around here, you got him right in the side. Down he goes. That's a big kill. Artillery blops on you. 6 seconds in between shots, so I think you get around this, well, maybe just in time. I don't think I would have stopped there. I would have definitely gone back around that building. He might have just clipped out. I don't know what he was shooting at necessarily. They did just kill the artillery over there, so perhaps he used a couple of them on those guys. But if we're talking about a Bat Chat tier 10, it's 6 seconds roughly between the shots. I would have looked for cover and held tight for a bit right there. We've brought it down to 1v3 with one of them being artillery. If he is reloading, you've got a good 60 seconds here before he does that. Coming back here, looking for these guys. Again, like I was talking about, getting flanked is a big deal, but you will notice that this is a fairly mobile casemate TD. Even after the nerfs, you can see that it definitely moves around. Its traverse right to left from the hole is quite fast. Its forward speed is good. Really in the vein of the 268 version 4, which is absolutely ridiculous. This was always a fairly mobile TD with really good frontal armor, and at tier 9 it's still more or less the same tank, basically. So now we're trying to find where these guys are, and the enemy team's going to make one of those mistakes. That seems like a good idea, but it's not really. Somebody has got on the cap. Well, it's not him. Down he goes. Which let Silver know exactly where one of them was. He just found that guy who was alone trying to find Straka in the town, and had they gone together, they might have been able to kill him right there. He takes the one shot, the other guy moves in and takes him out. But they're not together. So now Silver knows, alright, great, there's one guy on the cap. I wonder if it's the Arty or the RHM. Someone's saying it's the RHM. It's possible it's the Arty. It's a relatively fast Arty. And if it was reloading, it might as well be moving while it does so. And we have an interesting situation happen right here. Hey, guess what? There he is. Blap. ammo racked a bounce. So the RHM goes ahead and fires a regular AP shot. Looks like he's running the faster reloading longer gun on that thing. No longer has arty support, so now we're down to 1v1. Probably would have taken that shot as well, backing off. Gone to HE, which is the right answer now with an RHM. Otherwise, he's got to take 3 shots on this guy. With HE, he can reasonably expect to take him down with 2. As long as he doesn't bounce off the gun or something silly. This is the right answer. You move up while he's reloading. That's 655. What you need to watch out for is him loading HE, but if he's running the longer gun, not the great big old cannon that is the top gun on that thing, he will take a chunk off you, but it's unlikely he'll kill you. That was a rushed shot. Looks like he fired another APCR round, so he's just going to have a hard time going through this armor. You rushed that shot, you had him right there. Once he bounced, you should have just nonchalantly driven up and taken him out. A little bit lucky there, but you only end up taking, what, 30 hit points, so potentially he did not get in. He must have hit your gun or maybe your mantlet. That's usually what happens when you only do 30. But like I was just saying, that gun is relatively low caliber. What is it, a 128 or something like that? A 120, 128. So it's not going to do a whole bunch of HE damage. And had he gone to it earlier, he may have come a little closer to taking you out with the shots that he bounced if they had all been HE. But he was really going for that, hey, my APCR is going to lull pin right through your face and I'm going to win kind of thing. That was a nice job, man. 6 kills, top gun, 4,389. The team was doing okay, maybe a little slow for you to kind of get in the fight. Then the team started to lose big time, and you got really down into a defensive crouch and ended up winning this thing. I talked about the 4502 situation with the hatch. Hatches are tricky to hit. You go right or left, it ends up being more of an auto bounce, or at least the effective armor increases quite a bit, and you can have trouble doing that. You go a little high, sometimes the hitboxes aren't high on them anyway. You go too low and you're getting into the top turret armor, which then you've got to deal with, whether it's auto bounce angle, and then you've got the overmatch thing to think about, blah, 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 blah. Hatches are difficult. They just are. Just because you happen to hit it didn't mean you hit it dead center and at the hitbox, I guess is what I'm saying ultimately right there. And nice job towards the end game there. Silver, all right, guys, hope you learned something. Hope you liked what you saw. If you did, make sure you subscribe to the channel, and we will see you.